right. Welcome to today's agency webinar, Behind the Amazon Curtain, where we share expert secrets and strategies from the subject matter experts, agencies around the world that know Amazon, know how to grow and scale businesses profitably, and they how to share their secrets today. So this has been an awesome series. We've been doing it for a while, and we've had some great agency partners on there. And we're not stopping with Bobby and Chris joining today. I know both the guys well, and I'm super excited to hear what they're going to share today and help you guys grow your businesses on Amazon. So welcome, Bobby, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to today, and also thanks, guys, for taking time out on the start of Black Friday, Cyber Monday. 12 days of craziness ahead for us all. So I appreciate the time, and we've got a pretty stacked audience today. So I'm happy to see some people jumping on here right now. So and some comments. So we've got a Cape Town where I'm originally from, South Africa. So that's cool. I'm in Los Angeles right now, but if you are live, drop a comment in there. Let us know where you're from. Maybe a comment or two around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, anything you want to drop in there. It's going to be super engaging today. And let's start with some intros. So why don't we go for it, Bobby, and then Chris? Maybe just let everyone know, your agency, where you're based, and I'd love to get maybe a quick insight from the start of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then we'll and also what you're talking about today. So let's hear it from you, Bobby. Let's go.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, John, again, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm with Coretrex. We're an omni-channel growth agency, full service. And again, we take brands, we put them on Amazon, we scale them profitably and remove some of the complication and questions around that. It can feel like a very confusing place to be, and we help simplify that and grow brands. So, Black Friday is always an interesting holiday on Amazon, and you never know what it's going to be like. 2 days, 14 days. So far, so good. No hiccups. All the deals are live, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. And what are you going to talk about today?
Today's topic is going to be on what Amazon doesn't tell you about the flywheel. And that may sound mysterious, but it's really pretty simple. So I'm excited to get into that.
Sounds super cool. Awesome. Okay, Chris.
Thank you, John. Bobby, good to hear about you guys. I'm sure you guys do amazing work. I'm Chris Brewer. I'm the co-founder of OMG Commerce. We're a 15-year performance marketing agency, and we cover everything from Google to Meta to TikTok to Amazon full service to retention marketing. So we're an omni-channel performance marketing that leans hard into strategy and utilizes a top US-based team of experts to help accelerate sales for the brands that we work with. One notable brand and success story we've had over the years is Native, which is a Procter & Gamble brand, which we had the distinction of making the cut when Moise Ali sold the brand. And usually you don't make it to Procter & Gamble, but we were doing such a good job with their Google back then that we stayed along for the ride, and last year helped them reach the $1 billion in D2C sales mark. So that's a big brand we work with, but we work with a lot of, I would say, middle market brands as well. And I'm fortunate. If Bobby's Amazon focused, I've got the luxury of, being able to watch the team from a high level with all the Black Friday craziness. And I've seen the Amazon teams, noting in Slack that deals are done and all of that. And so, Bobby, I don't know how close you are to day, but I've got the after 15 years, I've been able to coast a bit through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and just watch the team suffer. Not suffer, but work through the challenges of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and things that brands don't realize, that while you're sitting down eating your turkey, our teams are actually watching messages, looking for any kind of flare-ups, while they've got their phone under the table eating grandma's dressing. So that's the reality of the agency side.
That's true. It's true.
That's good. Yeah. Totally understand and sympathize with our team as well. I think that's cool, Chris. And one thing that I think you guys have done really well over time is you've obviously been extremely omni-channel. And I think that's a really important kind of view to have on discussions today, even on the Amazon side, is thinking, Amazon is one of the best channels, but obviously not the only channel, and how do those channels all work together? And also, Chris, what are you going to talk about today?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the no deal growth path for Amazon. And that just simply means there's a way to do promotional periods that don't have to involve coupons and deep discounting like you may think. So I'm going to present one side of the path. There's obviously the other side of the path. And this was originally a topic on a webinar we did a few weeks ago. So I realize likely all your deals are probably done right now. So there's still time for campaigns or things that don't involve a deal. But really, because we're so tight on time with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I want you to consider this for your entire promotional periods throughout the year. So take something, a nugget that you may want to implement in the next few days. That's fine. Don't want to blow anything up, but think of this for, if you've got Valentine's Day oriented sales, or Mother's Day, or Father's Day, or Prime Days. Those are the things that you can look at for these kinds of things.
Awesome. Great. Looking forward to it. And from my side, obviously, the founder and CEO of ZonGuru, we're, a data intelligence tool and an AI tool for specifically your Amazon marketplace. And our real focus is around, getting more visibility, ranking on Amazon through your listing content creation, both on the content and image side. We've had a lot of world firsts in that space. And we have a lot of world firsts even today, and we're going to cover on one of them, which I think will be really interesting to everyone listening here, but probably also to you guys on the agency side. So what I'm going to unpack today is really the how does your listing score from a Cosmo algorithmic perspective. I'm going to talk more about this in a second, but there's certainly big shifts that are happening on Amazon on the algorithmic side to make sure that they can provide an experience on the AI LLM type of conversational search with Rufus. And for that, they need an intelligent algorithm, and they have developed that, and they're shifting that way. And how does your listing actually score when you compare it on the Cosmo side versus just the straightforward A9 algorithm? And you'll have an opportunity to get access to that, plus some Black Friday specials and everything else that I have. So we're going to jump into it right now. So again, everyone on here, give us some questions, comments. I see a couple that are rolling in. Thank you, Francisco, for his comments coming in already. We'll get to those for sure. How it's going to roll today is we have 10 minutes each, a little bit of flexibility on that, but really that's the time to teach this audience about the topics. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. And then, we'll wrap it up with maybe one question around, what's the biggest lever that you have on Amazon that you can focus on, and we can share some thoughts around that. It's fireside chat style. So, Chris, Bobby, feel free to answer questions, comment on everyone's presentations. Let's just keep the conversation, subject matter expert, and let's dig into it. So let's make it really useful for everyone here. And again, everyone listening, the more questions you have, the more input you give, the better answers you're going to get, right? So if you're live, feel free to respond and jump in. I'm going to kick it off right now. Are you guys good?
Ready.
All right, let's roll. I'm going to put my 10 minutes on here so that I keep myself accountable, and I'm going to share, and we'll go from there. Oh, I think I'm sharing already. Can you guys see my screen?
You got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Guys, if anything gets stuck, feel free to jump in, and just if it's not sharing or whatever, let me know so that I can jump in. Okay, so let's kick it off. I'm going to take over. Guys, I told you about who we are, and I think we have so many different tools, but our strength in the marketplace and what we're known for is Amazon SEO or GEO, which is what we're calling it now. And I truly believe that we are here and we're in the perfect position to meet Amazon's AI moment as it moves into this, LLM, AI intelligence, conversational search. I think we're really positioned to help brands, and we're seeing some amazing results with our new Cosmo transformation service. I'm very passionate about it. Number one, I just think we've created an amazing product, but we're seeing some amazing results from the updating of what people are doing to their listings and the performance tracking that we have on it. And I'll show you some of that towards the end. But it's really great when you're proud of what you created, but you actually start to see a big difference happening in the marketplace. And I know that this is where everything is going. So it's helping brands get ahead of some of the shifts that are happening. As a quick cover, some of the context here is today. What I'm going to be talking about is this Cosmo the Cosmo readiness score report. So I'm going to be showing you how you can take your current listing and actually score it for Cosmo. The context around that is that we have this Cosmo transformation service product. If anybody's been following me, I've been talking about it a lot. I'll mention it in today's session, but I'm not going to get deep on the actual Cosmo transformation report because we only have 10 minutes, right? So I want to make sure I'm showing you guys some new things. But again, if you want to see more of that, you can go to the landing page I'll show you. There's a PDF you can download there. You can actually see the Cosmo transformation service and get into that. But today I really want to focus on that report. The context around this, if you are kind of first in hearing about this, is this idea of like Amazon's A9 algorithm, right? Which is historically and traditionally, more of an archaic style algorithm that really looks for, keywords that are in your listing. As the more keywords you have in there and the position that you have it in, it's going to then semantically match you to those keywords. And where, it's having to move into this area of what we call Cosmo and Rufus, which is the conversational search that happens on Amazon. In order to that to really have a strong experience, it has to have a much more intelligent algorithm, and this is what Cosmo is, right? So it has ways of, technically mapping your listing and then using that technical mapping to match it to experiences and to match it to the keywords and the intent-based searches that are out there. So it's a much more intelligent algorithm. And just the way to really think about it is, if you go on and you type into Google, how does, what is a good knee replacement, brace that I need? The type of conversational search that you're having there is what Rufus is competing with, or ChatGPT, etc. Right? So that's the world that we're in, and Amazon has to move very fast, because if they lose that experience to ChatGPT or to Google, etc., and the e-commerce side, they're going to be in a pretty bad spot. So they have to be able to move fast, and this mapping is now happening. Where it is on the dial between A9 and Cosmo is an interesting conversation, and we'll talk more about that. But we're seeing, we're updating listings for Cosmo, and we're seeing not only no drop in rank or visibility, we're seeing an increase in conversion with this tool that we've created. So it is there, and we do some CYA around A9 as well, which I'll talk about as well.
Yeah, John, and I'd be curious when you talk about that, because this is something big we've been dipping into too. And I'll just tell you, just for the audience, one of the big trends that I've seen, I haven't seen it really in the last 4 months, but at the beginning of the year, at least the brands I talked to, I was getting a lot of legacy brands coming in, freaking out a bit. Like we've got listings that are losing the buy box, and we're losing traction to newer competitors, and we don't know what's going on, and we can't figure it out. And I'd be like, when was the last time you really did a catalog refresh for the October 2024 update? And many of them were like, no, and probably not for Cosmo Rufus. Like, what is that? Like, and so I think that's good to know that this is definitely a mover. I'd be curious though, because we tell people on our side, like it's adjusting for this is going to be more of a 2 to 5% mover over time, rather than something that's going to really super impact them like PPC. But but 2% can be a big mover depending on the size of your brand.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get into that in a second. So I love those questions, and I think it's, again, this is what makes me feel good about it, is like when I'm meeting with other agencies that are at the cutting edge of what's happening and how to grow these businesses. These are things that you're looking at, testing and seeing results, and so are we, right? So creating something that is future looking and cutting edge, is important. And I strongly believe there's a shift that's happening. And so there's this linear line I'll kind of talk about in a second, but Amazon is still looking at A9, and looking at keyword position, but they're also looking at the Cosmo. And so how do you find the right balance between the two? And also, how do you get brands to kind of trust, like, hey, let's move away from, keyword stuffing or broad matching for the main keywords throughout the listing. And what we're seeing is that, we are doing some coverage for your main intent keywords, but moving away from covering all of those, we're not seeing a drop in rank across all those keywords. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's going to be some more kind of insights around exactly what you're talking about. One thing that I'm showing here, and this is actually from Amazon's own white paper, this new algorithm Cosmo, what's really cool about it is it has an intelligent kind of knowledge graph mapping, right? And if you can map your listings to match what they've actually told us to match for around this type of example given here, it then is intelligent enough to say, hey, I've mapped the listing for this, so therefore match this listing for these experiences, for these keywords, etc. Right? So it's such a much better way of knowing you have this mapping that you can do. And certainly AI is very good at mapping your listings for this, but still sounding really great around your listings, right? And so you get this beautiful evolution of your listings where no longer do you have to keyword stuff an ingredient, kind of make your listing sound an ingredient list, and move it into a position where you can actually talk about your brand, your USP, how to better connect with customers' anxieties and sentiments and everything else. Really talk about your brand and how you stand out, but make sure that there's AI is done it where you are intelligently mapping it for this type of technical mapping. So I'm going to show you a lot more of that in a second. Again, I think this is what I talked about, which is, hey, we know how to A9 match, right? But this Cosmo, how do you actually match and make sure that your listing is matched? And what I'm going to show you today is exactly how to do it. I think this is an important point to make is what we're seeing with Cosmo and Rufus is it's really like an LLM style, mapping, right? And so it's very similar to what's on ChatGPT and Perplexity. And so as we map your listings on Amazon, we are also positioning you to have more visibility on searches on ChatGPT and Perplexity and everything else, which is super cool, right? And that space is evolving a lot. But what's really interesting is that not only are you mapping yourself for better visibility on Amazon, but it is percolating and translating into these other LLMs that are out there. So, if you want to give your Amazon listings a better shot of being referenced in, all of these other LLMs, this is where you need to start. And we're seeing how we're mapping it is exactly how LLMs are doing it as well, which is very cool. I think you guys just talked about this, but how is Q4 going? Is there like some kind of drop, something feeling weird, but you can't put your finger on it? It's most likely this algorithm, right? And so if you haven't made the changes, now is the time to start future proofing. This is obviously a time to at least create the listings and get ready, even out of the back of Q4, as you get into Q1, it's time to update your listings. Very quickly, because I know I want to make sure that I'm on time here, is this is the transformation service. If you go to the URL I give you, you'll be able to see exactly what you get in this, but it's an amazing agentic model that we've built that does deep research on your brands, customer sentiment, competitors, everything, and really surfaces how you need to stand out and communicate your brand in your copy. We do it across your images as well. We tell you exactly what images you need to do, what copy you need to add, and it helps you with both human conversion and with algorithmic visibility. So this is an amazing product. I'll show you in a second what it looks like. I'm going to jam forward on here because I really want to jump into this Cosmo report and give you an opportunity to get it. Another big heads up here. This is kind of first look, but tomorrow we're launching a 50% off Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale for this product. So you'll get it at 50% off. And big news is that now it's available for UK as well. So we've been US specific, but now we're available in the UK. And you guys will have the first access, whoever's live on this webinar, you will get it before we go live tomorrow. So I'll give you a chance to get access to that in a second. Okay, so we launched this product. It translates the listings. It tells you exactly what you need to put in your listings, tells you why. But the question was coming like, well, what is my actual listing right now? How do we score it? And this is the product we've developed. I'm going to show you on this listing, which is an automatic cat feeder. And this is how it scores it. So let me jump over and you guys tell me if you lose my screen, but I want to just show you what the actual report looks like. Can you guys see if I switch between tabs? I'm sticking around. Okay, great. So this is a product. It's an automatic cat feeder. It does fantastically well. It's a really well done listing with copy, rank, etc. We've analyzed this and obviously picked out certain Cosmo opportunities that are sitting in this listing. And then we've obviously gone ahead and actually redeveloped it. And then we have a score at the end. So I want to just jump in and show you what this report looks like. So you can take any listing, run this Cosmo readiness report, and you'll get a score. So right now it scores 63 out of 100. What's cool about the report is we come back and we tell you, hey, what does your semantic mapping look like? Which is obviously the Cosmo mapping. What does your Rufus Q&A look like? How are we answering on Rufus? And then how does your listing basics look as well? And we break it down. So we start with that mapping that I just showed you. And we go, okay, so you're shallow in some areas. So you talk about feeding schedule, right? But you're not talking about, the feeding programs, right? And how to schedule it for different types of use cases with some of the animals, right? We talk about situation, you talk about long weekends, but there's certainly a lot of, things that are missing from there: vacation travel, hospital stays, pet sitting scenarios, right? So we surface a lot of like, what are those experiences and how you need to map them for Cosmo. These are the things that are well mapped. There's things in here like, where was a good one that I saw here? So used with, this is a really good one, right? Because there's used with other products, right? This is really important for Cosmo because it will link you to other types of products. So it talks about dry food, but it's not talking about like, hey, you can use it with water fountains or pet cameras or smart home systems, right? So there's other ways of how it can map you so that when people are looking at other products, you surface as well. So it's going to map these out for you and tell you where you're strong and weak, and it will tell you in this how you should change your listing, right, to make those updates. We get into the Rufus question and answer. We tell you how it's mapped well. We'll talk about where you're not answering the right questions, right? So what's included in the package? It doesn't talk about that the batteries are not included, right? What's the setup process? Does it have a warranty? So all of these kind of key questions that people want answers to, you're not mapping in the listing. And then we tell you some extra strategic gaps that are missing. And then we'll talk about some actual strategic opportunities at the end where we talk about like, hey, on this listing, these are actually things that you need to do. So it will give you some really important specifics that you should now include in your listing. So this report is excellent because it will score it, show you where the opportunities are, but also give you some insight as to what you can do yourself to improve that listing. This is what you can get on any single listing, and we'll deliver this to you, and you'll have an opportunity to get these today for everyone who's live today. Where this moves to next, and I'll just cover this really quickly because I know I'm running short on time, but then you get into the Zonguru listing Cosmo transformation service. So this is the actual answers to that report. We'll get into your current listing, what it looks like, how it should be optimized, and then we get into all the mapping, how it's mapped, customer sentiment. There's a lot in this report going into every single way that we've answered it. Brand voice alignment. You have an opportunity to give us your brand and your brand tone. That'll be included in this report. So you guys have control of inputting into this agentic model. And then we do the same thing on the listing side. So insights on your listing, images, order, what you should put in your images, actual prompts that you can add to your favorite LLMs, and everything you need to really help with conversion on the image side as well. And then we give you all of this plus a CSV so you can upload it into Amazon. It's really a fantastically powerful report. And then on this specific one, on the back end, you get a score of 84 out of 100. So it's much better scored at the end of the day, which is amazing. Okay, I'm going to end in a second here. I wanted to show you guys, this is the performance tracking we're doing. So everyone who's uploading listings, we're tracking performance. We're seeing things like, to what you guys raised earlier, total sessions increase 68%, niche rank 13%, conversion rate 18%. And this is we're not just tracking specifics around your rank, but all the things that affect it as well. So PPC spend, price, all of these other things that are contextually impactful on your performance. And we're seeing these kind of these things happening across the board, right? So we're seeing real great, fantastic results. If you want to get access to this is the offer that I'm giving you guys today. One is 50% off. So you don't have to have a subscription. It's literally pay per ASIN. It's typically $100 per ASIN, which you get that ROI back literally in seconds when you push it live. But we're reducing that to $50 per ASIN. So you get that for any ASINs you submit. It's a one-time. You submit the ASINs, you'll get that 50% off. And for specifically to this webinar, you can also get the same amount of ASINs that you submit and pay for. You can get the same amount of Cosmo reports, and we'll send you that for free. So you can use that for the same ASINs you submit, or you'll get an opportunity to submit whatever ASINs you want, and we'll give you these reports for free. When you go ahead and make that order today, if you add the coupon Cosmo50 off, you will get that Black Friday Cyber Monday offer. So go to this link, zongguru.link Cosmo50, enter that coupon, you get 50% off, enter the ASINs you want, and then we'll also tag you and we'll give you those Cosmo reports back for free as well. So remember, Cosmo-50 off, enter that, we'll put it in the chat, and you can get access to this. That's it from my side, guys. I know that it was super fast, and it's really giving you a taste of what of what we have there. Again, if you go to that URL that I've just given you, there's a PDF. You can download that report. You can see exactly what you get for that. Plus, we'll give you that score audit, and we'll give you that 50% off. So I hope you guys jump in and take advantage of that. All right, guys. So I know I ran a little bit long, but Bobby, we're going to jump over to you. Guys, any comments there, Chris, Bobby, before Bobby kicks off? Any thoughts on that?
I love that, John. Thanks for taking time to share that. I think that things like Cosmo can feel really scary because people feel like it's this entity that they have no control over. But really, this is where people like us come in, right? It's kind of where we come in, we save the day, we operationalize these things that feel big. So the tool that you've developed, the strategy that you shared, it's like that all makes perfect sense. And you've made it in a way that feels approachable. So
great. Yeah, what I'm super proud of on that tool, and what is AI good at? It's obviously good at doing the mapping, but like the deep research that we do in this process to really surface some of those insights of like how to differentiate your client or your brand from everyone else. These are the things that we start to pull to the surface. So we just see this amazing listing creation and insights that people just don't see, and then obviously it's mapped in the right way. Yeah, and we're still doing some coverage for A9. So specifically, we look at all your top keywords and we make sure we broad match for some of the key ones in your title and in other places in the bullets. But we get that hesitancy from brands, a couple of months back where they're like, hey, I don't know if we should move away from these keywords, but we push it live and we're seeing these results. So it's working fantastically. Good. Okay. Bobby, let's jump in, man. Let's jump into exactly the flywheel and everything you talked about. And okay, thanks for the questions, everyone. Keep them coming. We're going to come back to Q&A towards the end. But Bobby, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so you can see my screen. I'm doing the same thing with the timer to stay on track and focused. It's easy to get out in left field just because I love doing this. I love talking about these things. I talk about this every day with my team. So again, I'm Bobby. I'm with Coretrex. We're an omni-channel full-service growth agency. We're actually based out of Northwest Arkansas, so right in the heart of the Ozarks. And again, love what I do. Been doing this for here at Coretrex about 2.5, 3 years. Marketing in general, going on almost 15 years. So I feel like I know a lot about this space, but then at the same time, Amazon does things like introduces Cosmo and things like that. And it's like, maybe I don't know so much. So always trying to stay ahead of the curve. So guys, I wanted to take a few minutes, again, going to try to keep it around that 10-minute mark and talk about something that's really misunderstood on Amazon. And we like to call that the flywheel. So it's kind of pictured as this simple loop, right? And people think like you sell more, you rank higher, then you sell more. but that's really that's like the top of the funnel. That's just the surface. Amazon's actual growth engine is far more interconnected. There's a lot more pieces that have to interlock in that puzzle for it to make sense and for it to work well. The brands that understand these connections are brands that scale profitably and scale predictably. So I wanted to take some time, dive into this. So really, if it's not just about spending more money on things like advertising, what is it really? So let's dive into the hidden mechanics a little bit. The flywheel isn't about just pushing a single lever. It's about aligning all of them. Like I mentioned, it's a puzzle that has to fit together. Amazon shouldn't really be thought of as just a sales platform. It's an outcome platform, right? So the flywheel gains speed when Amazon sees the brand delivering consistent, reliable outcomes for customers. Amazon wants more customers than Shopify, than Target, than Walmart. And truthfully, they do a pretty good job of maintaining that. But it needs to win those customers into the digital aisle and keep them there. So that means we have to take things into account like healthy inventory, strong conversion rates, efficient advertising, low return friction, and really a great customer experience overall. So if even one of these things is out of alignment, the flywheel doesn't spin, or at least doesn't spin very effectively. The brand feels stuck. And we hear this a lot in our industry is, hey, we scaled rapidly for X number of years or X number of months, and now we've plateaued and we feel stuck. We can't figure it out. So I'm hoping to, again, peel back some of that curtain and share some insights that we like to focus on that really will keep that flywheel spinning. So really, most growth problems on Amazon come from invisible drag, not just a shortage of ad spend, right? The goal isn't just to get you to spend more money on advertising, because that doesn't really feel profitable a lot of times. So I kind of want to quickly break down these kind of three sections of the flywheel and tell you why they matter, right? This is a webinar, so you're going to have a recording and you'll be able to come back here later. So you may not catch everything now, but I'm going to try to make it in a way that's digestible where you can come back and look at that. So let's look at inventory. Again, this may seem like a no-brainer, but really people struggle with this. You'd be shocked at the number of times why are our sales down? Well, guys, we're out of inventory on X number of products, and the traffic is there, but we don't have inventory, right? So stable inventory really just means that Amazon trusts you. Inventory is one of the biggest trust signals on Amazon. And when Amazon sees that you consistently stay in stock, don't have stranded units, you maintain enough FBA to cover the what people want, it treats you kind of like you're a predictable brand. Amazon rewards predictability, and that's what we want to focus on, right? So the key issues that we tend to see are stockouts. They crush your ranking and reset momentum. I've told this to brands dozens of times, right? If you want to fail on Amazon, run out of inventory. Low FBA capacity or long inbound times. Again, I know we have to weigh those things. We have to weigh things like, do we go LTL? Do we go small parcel? Take all of that into account, right? A lot of times going with a smaller FBA shipment to Amazon means you get the inventory there faster, and that can be a temporary offset while you're getting the larger shipment inbound. So, making sure that we keep a close watch on stranded or unfulfillable inventory, and then excess inventory. Again, this is something that can sneak under the radar, and that we've found lots of brands that have excess inventory lurking at the back end of the catalog that are eating up those fees on a monthly basis. So really, some of the initiatives here, and to put it simply, again, we drive FBA readiness with regular forecasting. That's something that we do, is we'll do this inventory forecasting and shipment recommendations. We like to keep at least a month of inventory on hand, maybe 45 days or so, depending on the item and the 30-day velocity. And then we regularly audit stranded inventory, long-term fees, things like that. And ultimately, guys, as people watching this, right, you may be a single person doing all of this, but you may have a small team of people. And my recommendation is always, hey, make one person accountable, right? Have one person that's managing this, whether it's someone like us, right? Or it's someone on your team. Make someone accountable to the inventory forecasting. So I love that. Moving on to the next, and to keep on time, we're already at almost 7 minutes, so this goes fast. Another piece of the flywheel, strong conversion, right? Conversion is really the heartbeat of the algorithm on Amazon, and this is our most direct way that we can help control like sales. It can make or break advertising and promotion, right? Advertising gets people there. Conversion gets people sold on it. So some of the friction that we see as low conversion typically means low sales, right? Your ROAS can be capped with that low conversion, and your customers are easy to conquest when your content's poor. So making sure that your product listings are conversion ready, right? That means we want strong images, clear bullets, A+ content, all of those things to make sure that people are ready to convert on the product. And really, like, to circle back to what John was talking about, making sure that things like titles are optimized and ready to be ingested by things like Cosmo. We like to A/B test a lot on Amazon. I think it's super, super important because people are going to convert at different times of the year, right? People may convert differently on an item at Christmas than they do in the middle of summer. So, like, again, making sure that you're ready for those things, kind of keeping those things at the top of your mind as you're struggling with some of this conversion. So moving on to the next, advertising efficiency, right? The hidden thing here is advertising doesn't just create momentum, it amplifies momentum, right? Ads are a way to accelerate growth that you've already earned. Bad ads usually point to other issues, right? We like to say that bad advertising amplifies the issues that you already have, right? Some of the friction here is that ROAS isn't your only success metric. I know that's something that people love to focus on is ROAS. We hear that between ROAS and ACOS, but really let's get a holistic view on our payback metrics. Let's look at tacos, right? And tacos are great for Tuesdays, but tacos are also great to show the overall health of your account and how you're performing. We want profitability, and we want to take dollars home at the end of the day. So, we want to make sure that we don't overspend. Some of that friction there is that some ads that look successful may not be successful when you really dive deep into them. Again, making sure that we keep the main thing, and using those payback metrics. I love explaining how tacos works, and that could be an hour-long webinar on its own, right? But making sure that we keep an eye on all of the things, right? When it comes to advertising, we don't want to only focus on or just our organic or just our paid. We want to keep both of those in mind, and then keep your campaigns diverse. Set different goals, set different sets of targets. Again, some of that is going to play into how things like Rufus and Cosmo work. Amazon is pretty smart and works all of that together. So the other piece of the flywheel is we want to have low return friction. Returns can really pretty quickly drag down your growth. They hurt margins and slow, they signal low customer trust. And as we all know on Amazon, customer trust is kind of a top priority. But when we have a lot of return issues, it reduces visibility and rank. And I know that there's some struggle here. So it's like, I can hear people already, maybe not in the comments, but like, hey, Amazon doesn't allow a ton of options for returns, right? Change my mind, or that wasn't as described. And it's like, that may not be the case, but like, again, we have things that are assuming buyer intent, like Cosmo and Rufus. And so we want to make sure to stay ahead of those things. So like, better sizing infographics, clear expectations, stronger visuals to represent or to prevent mismatches. Keep an eye on competitor listings, right? Some competitors that are absolutely dominating really have strong content when it comes to sizing infographics or A+ content. And maybe that's an area you could improve. But clear content reduces those returns. And really the key here is pay attention. Pay attention to your returns, pay attention to your return trends. That could signal something, right? That could signal something like pricing issues or Maybe it is a sizing problem. Maybe there's inconsistency in the quality. There's a number of things there, but just another piece of that flywheel. So customer experience, guys, this is also huge on Amazon. It's something that Amazon wants every customer to have the best possible experience, and they monitor everything even after the sale, right? Whether it's those return rates, packaging complaints, delayed arrivals, negative buyer feedback. They really kind of monitor all of those pieces, and as the slide suggests, word of mouth really matters. Really the key initiatives is like, don't skimp on your COGS. They often justify a higher price, guys. It's like it doesn't always have to be race to the bottom. I know it feels that way sometimes, especially during events like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We want to coupon ourselves into oblivion, but what you're selling is valuable, and your work is valuable. So take that into consideration. But think outside the box, right? When it comes to customer experience, an insert. We've had a lot of brands that will throw an insert in that says, happy with your experience, leave us 5 stars, right? If not, reach out to this phone number or this email address. And some of that can help kind of curtail the issues that may occur. So
a quick time check there, Bobby.
Yeah, we're cruising. I'm going to try to wrap this up, right? So really, the flywheel doesn't spin faster with more advertising. It spins faster when inventory conversion, efficiency, and customer experience all work together, right? When Amazon trusts your product to deliver consistently great outcomes, visibility increases, organic rank grows, and your momentum kind of compounds. So your job as a brand: remove friction, build trust, and deliver a great experience. That's it for me.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely drop in there how people here can get in touch with you. I think my initial comment there is I got 2 comments really. One is this happens so often, is Amazon is it's not rocket science, but you have to pay attention to each of those areas and get it right. And so many people kind of get attracted by the flashy this or that, or how can I bend the system or whatever it is, and it's not. It's if you have a solid product and you do things in the right way, you're gonna get the flywheel going, right? And so I think that's a really important point, and you highlighted a lot of those key things in that. I think the other one I'll just make there around inventory is sometimes it's really good to just think about what's in it for Amazon, right? And if you think about it, Amazon's biggest internal expense, is the minute your product lands in Amazon and the last minute when it gets delivered. So any efficiencies you can create around moving your product through Amazon system as fast and as efficiently as possible is good for them, and they're going to give you points for that, right? So sometimes that's the way to think about it, is where's Amazon making its money, and am I aligning with that? If I'm not, how do I get better aligned with that? Because that's going to help your brand.
100%.
All right, man. Yeah, drop in anything of how to get in touch with you. Drop it in there for sure. Chris, any comments, or we're going to jump into your section straight away?
I think we're ready to go, and I started sharing, but I don't see it popping up yet. There you go.
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome.
All right, so Chris, jump in, and I'll keep the timer here, and I'll jump in if need be.
Yeah. So as a reminder, Chris Brewer from OMG Commerce, and if you'd like to learn more about me, just Google Chris Brewer Marketer, and you'll find most of my content. A lot of great content already shared today, and I'm going to pivot and talk a little bit about marketing. Whether you're in the US, Canada, EU, this all applies. And like I said, maybe some last minute tidbits for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but think about this more from a all around promotional period type of thing, and how to win, whether it's Q4 or other promote periods, without discounting. So this really isn't for everyone, but if you're a brand that values kind of profit over panic, and if you'd rather build value than give it away, then this is for you. So there's 2 paths to go during sales periods, promo periods: deals or no deals. Remember that game show? We're kind of talking about no deal today. We're going to hit that buzzer and going to focus on that no deal track in the next 7 to 8 minutes. So I'm going to walk through 3 levers that you can still pull right now, or you can plan for later to generate lift without coupons or lightning deals, things like that. The first thing that you want to do is curate your store for gift ability. Now, I know this may seem hard for some brands, like especially if you're selling picture hangers or something like that, that's not going to be super easy. But for a lot of stores, you can curate your store for giftability. Even if you're not discounting, shoppers are looking for ideas, not just items. And so that means you need to be present while while they're browsing and look like a gift. So some simple moves that you can make is to build some theme tabs in your brand store, like under $50, like, or under $25, or under $100, or for the DIYer, or for her, or for him. Those tabs in your brand store can really help you out, and to then repurpose the A+ content and the banners to tell a story, not just to sell a product. So highlighting bundles or sets that have a premium feel, even if the pricing isn't aggressive, is some ways that you can do that. One of our clients that sold, I think it was shower heads, not a typical gift, right? But they saw a big Q4 spike last year just from showing up in those online gift guides. And remember, Amazon loves off Amazon traffic. So if you can set up or get in those online gift guides when people are Googling, for this one, he actually leaned into worst gift ever and did a campaign around that with a mop, like highlighting a mop, right? Like worst gift ever, but it actually worked. And so you can kind of see these when you're doing a search around gift oriented keywords. When you're doing search, you see these guides that all have kind of brand information. And sometimes actually a top brand may include their competitors in those lists, but there's ways to do that in those kind of online gift guides. And really too, like, why does this strategy matter? This is a picture of one of our clients, Connor Crook from Diamondback Tools. And he said something that I loved, which is Amazon is not just a sales channel, it's a cash flow smoother. So if you're a brand that's also on D2C, D2C can slow down when shoppers wait for Black Friday or they're waiting for Prime Day. And so wholesale pauses while retailers stock up. But on Amazon, it moves differently. And that variance can smooth out your cash curve. Even better, Connor saw that Amazon was bringing in a different kind of customer, not kind of cannibalizing D2C, but adding to it. And our head of Amazon, lady named Luba, backed that up with some data in a past account study that we did, that she was looking at Amazon customers and D2C email lists, and they only had about a 10 to 15% overlap. So that means you can unlock 85 to 90% new buyers, especially during gifting season. So it's really not just about optimization. It's about new customer acquisition, new to brand. The second lever is video first advertising, specifically sponsored brand video. You can see that in the upper right here on this slide, because there's a lot of other things that are in this kind of flywheel that that the other presenter taught. I just forgot your name, Bobby, that talked about. And so sponsored brand video lets you show up in search results with an autoplay video. Nothing new there, right? But no brand store visit, no extra clicks, just kind of instant attention using those videos. But have you really looked into your sponsored brand video with being able to kind of make that a mobile first thing for you, and making sure that your sponsored brand videos that are in alignment with your promotional periods kind of follow a solid checklist that we have here in terms of having your hook in the first 3 seconds, the product by second 2, making sure you've got text overlay in these videos. Because remember, I've seen videos with like incredible audio and voiceover tracks, but on mobile, which is where a lot of people are, they're not unmuting those. So having the text overlay on those videos and having that vertical or square format for mobile is really great. And you can look, and I can share my slides. You guys can go back and look at the replay, but there's some other tips here just to optimize those things, because we've seen great ROAS even on like DIY sponsor brand videos during promotional periods, because it's not about relevance. It's about relevance, not like the production value all the time. And then the other like key, again, I mentioned this earlier, is driving external traffic. I'm still amazed when we're talking to brands, especially if they're talking about brand launch and they've got a big D2C channel and they're wanting to open up Amazon, and they're so worried about cannibalizing their D2C. And so they say, hey, I don't want to be moving traffic from Google or Facebook or other things to Amazon. I don't want to use that external traffic. I'm like, man, you're going to be fighting this fight one-handed at best. So using external traffic, especially around promo periods, email, SMS, and using Amazon's own creator connections can be a great thing to utilize. And so even without a deal, you can say, check out our Amazon gift guide or shop our holiday picks on Amazon. And they love that. And if you're not already signed up for the brand referral bonus plan, which only has been out for like, I think maybe 2 years now, maybe 3, probably 2. Time flies on new Amazon editions, but you can get paid back on that outside traffic. And tools like Levanta, which is one of our favorite ones, can really help scale that effort. I've got a great connection over there, so if you want an introduction and save some bucks with my referral, that would be great. But just include some words like deal, holiday, or gift in your creator connection titles. That's how those affiliates are gonna find you. So let's get tactical here as we're wrapping up. Here's kind of your 72-hour no deal sprint that you need to hit before any kind of peak event. So 72 hours out, your specialized sponsor brand video goes live. You've got your sponsor display retargeting on. You've got your gift page in your store published. You've got your PDPs, your FAQs, tables, benefits, all of those kind of creative items there that can help sell through are all in place. 48 hours out, flag anything. Make sure you've got at least 28 days of supply in your inventory. We don't want to sell out. That's the worst thing that could happen around a promotional period. Make sure you're all backed up and brief your creators and activate any attribution links that you got. And then in the final 24 hours, it's kind of, hey, final go, no go here across ads, inventory, buy box. Make sure you're armed up with your budget, your rules, and kind of margin stop loss gaps there. So keep an eye on your in-house team or your agency, whatever that you're doing there. So that is my kind of very quick way to approach no deals on Amazon. I go way deeper on this in a webinar that my team delivered, and this is a QR code that you can scan and get the entire Last Minute Levers content that talks also about deals, not just no deals. So that is what I've got, John.
Awesome. Yeah. If you have the link to the QR code, feel free to drop it in the chat as well so that people can access that.
Yep.
Or we can go back to the QR code. But yeah, it's a great, that's great. And I think a couple notes there. I think it's kind of cool to think about it like, hey, a deal doesn't just have to mean a discount, right? And there's other ways, especially in a marketing brand communication, that you can make people feel excited about your product. And make it feel like they're getting this deal, and the gift angle and really just positioning it around that, I think is a really cool insight. So yeah, and I think the other point that resonated with me in your conversation there is, if you are omni-channel, Amazon is typically sometimes just seen as your lead magnet channel, right? It's that first touch point where people are looking for your type of product and it needs capacity, and they buy it, and that's the first time that they engage with that brand. And then hopefully you have a strong enough brand and communication around that you can get them to your other channels for rebuys, etc. I always give the example of like, hey, I sell coffee as a subscription, but I have a coffee pot that I sell on Amazon because that's the initial lead magnet engagement that I can get with them, and then get them to my sites and get the subscription going, right? So yeah, it's an amazing channel for sure.
Yeah.
Cool stuff, guys. Bobby, any comments?
No, I love that. Yeah, I love that idea. That doesn't have to be we race to the bottom, so to speak. It's I think that's valuable content. And really, guys, like everything that was shared here today, I mean, this can really take you where you're at and push you to the next level. So
yeah, and I love taking webinar content like this and kind of run it through an AI later and give it some questions to ask your current agency or in-house team. Like, find out how up are they on this, and because again, you've got to inspect what you expect, whether it's your team, and some brand owners, they just don't know what to expect. So content like this, it can really arm you to go in and say, hey guys, what are we doing here with our promotional plan? What are we doing over here in terms of algorithmic updates and things like that? And that's what I always usually find is where typically in-house teams struggle there, because it's not their fault. They're just not getting exposed to this kind of content typically.
Right.
Yeah, that's a super cool idea. Yeah, and for those owners out there that are working with agencies, I think that point that Chris is making is really strong, which is like, even if you're asking ChatGPT, but try and find the questions to ask your agency, because you've hired them as subject matter experts to answer those questions and move your brand in the right direction. Don't try and solve the problem yourself, right? Because that's what the trap that some brands fall into, is like they're trying to bring the solution to the agency rather than letting the agency solve the problem.
Right.
And I always, I love saying this to our team as well, is like the fastest way to get fired as an agency is to do what the client says, right? And so, and that goes on both sides. Like the client has to, if they've hired an agency, they have to give them the space and the opportunity to bring the ideas and to move the brand in the way that it needs to move to get success, right? So don't jump in there and stomp all over the agency, because it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, we only got a couple minutes, so I appreciate that. I think we have some questions. Yeah, I'd love for you, Bobby and Chris, maybe as I answer some of these, just to think about like, one last thing to share at the end, which will be like, what is probably the most impactful thing that brands can focus on before the end of the year to set themselves up for 2026. So if you want to think about that, I'll come back to you. Let me just check some questions here. Francisco, I know you had a bunch of questions around Cosmo mapping and where to, exact phrase, broad match, etc. without the listing. I think, one of the things that is important about Cosmo is that, using every field that you have, bullets, descriptions, your A+ content, EBC, those are critical, right? And image content, it can read all of that, right? So every single area that you have, you need to make sure that you're mapping for Cosmo and giving it the intelligent feedback it needs. In terms of exact match, yeah, you want to exact match for your main keyword, but you're not repeating, and then the rest can be broad match, and you're in a good spot. All right, anything else here that I just wanted to address? I think Elena, thanks for that comment. She said that she's already tried Cosmo and she's had some amazing results, which is awesome. In terms of the offer today, what's different about this versus our Black Friday offer, which goes live tomorrow, is that you can get with every ASIN you order, you're going to get the same amount of free Cosmo score reports, which is literally, you'll give us the ASIN and we'll run this report and send it back to you, which is a way to test and see how well you score right now. You can do it for the ASINs that we're going to optimize, or you can do it for whatever ASINs you want to submit to us. So we'll follow up with you on that, but that is exclusive to this webinar, as well as obviously the early access to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Chris, thank you. Anybody listening, the link is in there from Chris to get access to that webinar. Francisco,
a big question.
What are the top 3 ways to build a brand on Amazon? That's a webinar in itself for sure. I think I'll give one comment on that.
Capital.
Yeah, capital, yes, 100%. You need the capital and ways to get capital. I think, that's always the challenge, and I think it's more now than it was. But it's always like, if you're successful, not having access to capital can literally kill your brand. So,
I do think it's important. I don't know how new Francisco is, but for anybody listening, I think this is the thing: is I still have brands contacting me that think that it's 2020 on Amazon. And if you just look at the numbers, if you look at Amazon sales numbers, if you look at their revenues, it is not 2020. It is not 2021. And it is a long slog. Like we under promise big time for brands. And actually our best clients are the ones that can make it through the under promising and realize that, hey, when we're projecting 8 to 10 months of losses, potentially, like depending on the competitiveness of your category, sure, can you have something boom socially? Can you have something go crazy and you can have a success with PPC early? Absolutely. But we're wanting to make sure brands today understand that building a brand on Amazon takes expertise, it takes time, it takes investment, and I think the expertise is the biggest one, because so many brands just churn through agencies and get a really bad idea about agencies because they're just going with yes men. They're just going with people that are telling them what they wanted to hear, that, hey, yeah, 90 days, we should see some traction. And it doesn't always end up like that.
Yeah. And I would add to that, it's I think today your success on Amazon is, it used to be back in 2020, like, hey, get the product live and do everything you can to have a great launch strategy. But now the success is that's the first step, but you've got to have a plan for, 3 months, 6 months, a year out, and how you're going to manage that. And I think, or I know your success on Amazon is having some type of omni-channel strategy. So whether it's affiliate partners, TikTok, all of these things have to be part of your launch plan, ongoing plan to help with success on Amazon in the beginning, for sure. Bobby, you got a comment on that?
I do. Yeah, Francisco, that's a big question. First of all, so I'll break it down just 3 very quick. First, though, most important is work with an agency who cares, right? Who's like Chris said, not just yes men. Our goal, it's Pace It Everywhere in the office, is to be unforgettable, right? Unforgettable speed, character, and experiences, and that's in everything we do. So we're not just yes men, and I know that these guys aren't either. So, but really to scale a brand and to build a brand on Amazon, nail your product story everywhere that your product shows up. That means everything from titles to bullet points to creatives. Number 2, drive consistent visibility with intentional traffic, and then earn trust, right? The customer experience is important. It's part of that flywheel. Earn trust. So fast fulfillment, low returns, inserts, whatever, high quality reviews, Vine, do it all.
100%. Yeah. And I think, in all of that, like to your point, like if you don't have a great product, everything else is going to fall short, right? So it's product, listing, and then everything else on top, right? And I think a lot of people look past that and they're like, okay, well, how do we drive this? But they're not really focusing on the investment into their product, which builds the trust. Okay, guys. Well, last question. Anything that comes to mind, like what is the most impactful strategy or tactic that the listeners can focus on to finish out the year and set them up for 2026?
Oh man, I think from me, if I were to pick one thing for the rest of the year, which is tough, it's a big question. Push your hero SKUs, double down on top performers with inventory, ads, and content. So those will help carry momentum into Q1 during that kind of downturn.
I think something that you can we just see this so often, that the power of owning your own data and ensuring that you've got a capture system for emails, even if you don't have a D2C channel. Like the brands that I talk to that are doing well on D2C and also growing on Amazon, they all have one thing in common. They all have retention marketing. They all own their own customer data. And the brands that struggle and wake up one day and realize something changed at Amazon and they don't have anything else off of Amazon and they have no way of contacting their customers directly, they're in trouble.
Yeah, 100%. I remember back in the day, my customer list was an afterthought, but I did it and it became one of my strongest assets along the way, right? It just builds massively. Awesome, guys. And I think from my side, selfishly, I would say, mapping your listings for Cosmo going into the new year. I think, my sense there is it's going to become more and more important and more critical and give you more of that edge going into Q1 next year as you get on the back of this, because Amazon has to keep up and ensure that Rufus is delivering a conversational experience. And the fact is that algorithm is more intelligence and is going to make more money for Amazon because it has this co-buy behavior that it can map you to the intent of what you buy.
John, I think that's great. And I think too, that's another thing. If you've got an agency right now, just send them the link with the 50 off and say, hey guys, I don't know what you're doing for Cosmo, but can you run our listings through this?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know there's a couple more questions. We'll come back to that, but everyone's going to get a copy of this webinar. You'll get everything if you order or connect with these guys. Everyone will know you're coming from today's webinar. So thank you for participating. And Chris, Bobby, you guys will get copies of this and feel free to share on any of your content channels. I appreciate your time, guys. I know it's the most busy time of the year. Let's get at it. And thank you for sharing all the advice. Everyone go for it. And good luck with Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And we'll see you in a month with the next agency webinar. Check you out later. Bye.
Thanks, John.